When I hear the term social power of music, it's almost like saying the rhythmic power of music or the melodic power of music. Growing up in the DC punk scene, there was a really close tie between activism and what happened up on stages. Some of the first shows I ever went to were sponsored by Positive Force, which was a local community activist group who diverted profits from the door toward area groups doing nonprofit work, helping the homeless, helping people struggling with HIV/AIDS. This was just kind of like part and parcel for the shows that a lot of us grew up in. So it never seemed strange to us. It felt like, oh, this is how music is supposed to be. We would go out of town and meet friends who had been to concerts in other cities and people at college, who came to DC they were baffled by this, but to the people who grew up here, it was very, very normal to have activism and music very closely tied together. So of course, obviously, throughout American history, popular music has been this incredible vehicle for motivating change amongst people, getting people to change their minds about the social codes of the time. So in that sense, what happened here in Washington, D.C. in our teenage years isn't that unique. It's part of what's been happening across America. I would argue that all music is political. But this is a long-lasting and tightly bound musical community here in Washington, D.C. Having toured the country and in some, in yesteryear, the world, I started to realize how unique that the Washington, D.C. punk community was. Not just for the activism that took place here, but just the fact that it really, truly felt like a community. That wasn't just some kind of substitute word you'd use to describe the people who were showing up in the nightlife. And that is really bared out to be the truth. I'm 40 years old now, and I've been going to punk shows in DC since I was 15, and a lot of the people, whether they were teenagers like me back then, are still at these shows, or they were the older people, they were the old folks at age 25. They're still at the shows as well. It's an all-ages community. Because of the liquor laws, actually in Washington, D.C., a lot of the clubs allowed adolescents to be in venues, and that was this huge catalyst for the hardcore and punk scenes here in DC. But nowadays, I think when you talk about all ages, it works both ways, and you can be at a great show and there's people from ages 17 to 70 all taking in the same culture together. I think that's incredibly beautiful, very rare, and I treasure it. You wanna walk on the floodlines.